Wow. Man, I dig that tune. How you guys doing? Troy W. Hudson, the voiceover with personality, and yes, it is happening. I'm actually live on Facebook. And to say I'm just a little bit on the not so calm side would be an understatement. Anyway, I want to get all that out of the way. This is exciting for me. This is really cool. If you are actually tuning in live to this stream on Facebook, you are witnessing a guy without a net, a voiceover actor without a script. I got a couple of notes, but basically without a script, without a net, just kind of going out there and doing this thing. This is the culmination of a long history of videos I've done. And the thing that terrified me all along the way has been the idea of going live. And I've heard the benefits, and I've heard all the things that people are saying. Oh, better audience, more captive, all that stuff. The market reports say it's what you need to do. So the biggest reason I avoided it for years, I would record videos and put them out there, was because I was petrified of this very experience right here, which was no ability to edit. Everything's going out live. The Amazon guy could come to the door at any moment. The dogs could come rushing in here, telling me the Amazon guy's here at the very moment. The camera could go wonky. Any number of things could happen. But you know what? Living on the edge, baby. Doing it live. And enough with the silliness in the intro. This is just to see if anybody's out there and I can say hello to anybody. That's cool. If nobody shows up, I welcome you to the replay. Again, my name's Troy W. Hudson, the voiceover with personality. I have to do that now. It's going to be on bumper stickers and T-shirts someday. I don't know. Maybe not. Basically, what I've done this for, this is what I'm calling my voiceover weekly stew. Voiceover Weekly Stew, actually, the history of it real quick, dates back to, I think, 2016, 17. I kind of dabbled in putting stuff out there on my channels, social media channels. I really didn't know what I was doing, as opposed to now. Yes. But basically, I would edit these things together. I'd have basically a big multimedia presentation. I'd talk for 15 minutes, which was way too long, or more like 30 minutes. But what I would do was all this post-production would go into it, and I found I was spending so much time, and it went from being like, oh, this is cool to do, till like about a month into them or 2 months into them, I realized it was eating up, 10 hours of my time a week, which I did not have, and I have less of that now, fast forward, multiple years later. So what I'm attempting to do with this live, and they'll be much smoother from this point on, promise you, is to just find a way to do it live, to maybe do an hour of show prep, to figure out what I want to talk about on a weekly basis, to kind of plug it into this Friday 1 p.m. 10 a Pacific time slot, and just kind of use that as a vehicle to just try to connect with people who want to get on live, to do Q&A about voiceover production, to share a little of my work during the course of the week and my thoughts about stuff going on in the business. Questions that I've gotten during the course of the week, frequently asked questions that I get from time to time, one-on-one kind of stuff that I think could benefit a lot of people and not just that one person asking it. So that's essentially what I'm doing. The first thing I want to do, I'm going to get to the Q&A stuff, and I'm going to get to a couple of the things I'm working on. But what I want to do now is do something I'm going to call funboxing. It's not unboxing because, unboxing is like when you get something and you haven't opened it, so you open it up and you look at it and go, oh, this is all the stuff in the box. It's kind of like that, but this is kind of stuff I already know I got, so it's kind of what I'm calling funboxing. Remember, I came up with that. Probably not, but anyway, what I've done is, let me set up this real quick. I worked for a company during a live Zoom-directed session, a client in Buffalo, New York, Elmhurst Dairy. I think the website is elmhurst1925.com because that's when they started. A very old family-run business that had focused on dairy milk, cow milk dairy. Yeah, the regular kind, that kind of dairy. But they realized that plant-based milks were like a big thing hitting the market. So they retooled this old family business into a business that was focused on plant-based milks. And so I was doing this Zoom session. Everybody knows what that is these days. Everybody's done them. If you haven't, I mean, they're all the rage. Kids, I mean, come on. So I was doing this Zoom session with 3 different directors on this screen, and they were directing me through, and I got to, I realized what the product was, and I said, I bet you guys make some awesome almond milk, because I really like almond milk. That was all it took. I said I liked almond milk, and I said I don't believe I can find Elmhurst milk anywhere in the Columbia, South Carolina area where I'm at. And so they said, no problem. Give us your address. I said, okay. So I thought, they might send me a carton of milk or a coupon to send off for it, or, I don't know what I was expecting. Well, lo and behold, up show in the I think it was like 2 days later, not in my mailbox, but on my doorstep, because it was so big, 2 large boxes that essentially, this size right here, 2 large boxes of Elmhurst plant-based milk. I hope you can see that. There we go. Hazelnuts. Did you know you could milk a hazelnut? And what else did I get? I got milked oats. Yep, you can milk oats. Yeah, who knew? And they gave me some, what is this? Milked walnuts. Not your garden variety, but the milked kind. And this stuff is so good. Like I said, there were 2 boxes. And I went through the first box already. But I thought that was really cool. It's those kind of perks that you just don't expect. You hear about the olden days where the doctor in the country would save a life, and they'd bring him a basket of taters, or something like that, kind of a barter, when you couldn't afford. They did pay me, but they also paid me as a bonus with some milk, it's really, really good. Almond, hazelnuts, oats, all of it's good. I highly recommend it. Elmhurst milk, it's really good. They're not paying for this, but I figured I'd give them a shout out anyway. Now, I want to reach down here. Pardon the audio and the disappearance. But I got another fun box to open, and this is from a group that I've been doing e-learning voiceover production for since 2016. And these guys, the company's called Energy World Net, EWN. And for 4 years now, we've had this fantastic relationship. And we continue to have a fantastic relationship. I'm not putting a tense on that. A year ago, October, actually July, about this time last year, one of the VPs reached out to me, James Cross, VP of Brand and Design, and he asked me, he said, we've got this annual conference coming up, and it is, we need an MC to come out to Texas Motor Speedway and be our MC. You stand up there and you do your thing, and I'm thinking, this is my happy place right here, folks, in the padded room. This is kind of where I'm safe. I'm not really out there. I kind of do scripts, and this was very much a live in person with 300 plus people in a room. And I said, okay. It wasn't that immediate. It took a while for me to get up the nerve to say, okay. And I prayed a lot about it. But it happened, and it was fantastic. I loved it. I'd like to do it again sometime. Anyway, since then, we've been kind of exchanging swag stuff. I'll send them some stuff. And I guess it was yesterday, they premiered a program. They asked me to be a guest on their program. The program is called Coffee with Jim and James. I got that right. 2 of the guys at EWN, great guys, great company. I mean, they send me all kind of work. Beyond the work, there's a lot of friendships there. I got to see and meet a lot of people in Texas while I was there. Anyway, I was on their program. I think it was yesterday, it premiered on LinkedIn, and it was about a 20-some-odd minute interview program. They were asking me about voice acting, and so I was telling them about voice acting. And so what they did is they sent me this box right here, all the way from Decatur, Texas, and I want you to see what they put in here. Can you see that? Coffee with Jim and James. Focus. There you go. Powered by Energy World Net. And, yep, it is a very handsome mug, and I plan on using this quite a bit. And I want to reach up here and show you these. These little guys right here are like stress balls. Not that I ever get stressed in here. But these are both from EWN on the back there. See that? And so I've got the happy guy and I've got the goofy guy. But guess what they sent me? Hey, guys, want to come in here and check this out? They brought a friend. Now I've got angry guy. So if you're reeling, what does it say? It says, don't get mad, get EWN. I like that. And in addition to that, inside this box, these guys know how to treat you, I want to tell you. Look at this, a very handsome blue, I think I'll switch to the other camera to show that. A very handsome blue polo shirt. I'll have to lose a few pounds in order to fit into it, but hey, that's inspiration for me. And they dropped in some pins as well as this absolutely fantastic baseball cap with Energy World Net on it. I love that sunrise coming up with the E for EWN, the logo. And what I will do is wear this for the remainder of the live video in honor of Energy World Net. Thank you. So those were the fun boxings. Drop these down here. And I was hoping maybe one of the golden retrievers would pop in, but they seem to be busy at the moment. I guess they're waiting on that Amazon guy to bring the stuff. Okay, what did I have up next beyond the fun boxing? Oh, I know what I did. This morning, what I did is I get a lot of people asking me about my studio space, and I've never actually recorded a video or kind of documented how I've got things set up. So I went ahead and did that. I actually made a video earlier today with my phone. Excuse the audio quality, but I wanted to just kind of run and gun it and just kind of walk from room to room. So here it is, a behind the scenes, the very first behind the scenes video look at my studio space. Take a look. Okay, gang, I want to give you the behind the scenes tour of what the glamorous life of the voiceover artist studio really looks like, at least in my case. This is what I see when I walk in my padded room. I see the lovely trade show banner that I just put up there specifically for video shoots. And there's some of the background stuff there. And there's the Sennheiser 416. There's the chair over there in the corner. Is the prop box, trash can, and what you see covering the walls. Right here is the ring light with the camera. What you see covering the walls is Producer's Choice acoustic blankets, and some of them go all the way to the floor. You can see that back there. And let me just move over here. And some of them stop. These were the first ones I got that I think were like 6 feet. This ceiling is about 8 feet high, 8.5 feet. And essentially what is on the floor in the space where I couldn't bring it all the way down to the carpet, and the carpet helps on sound absorption as well, are acoustic tiles, foam tiles, and I'll show you that live in the studio. But what I've got is just basically some plant hooks from a big box store that helps hold them, and I just hand screw them in because I'm in a rental property and I'm only allowed to do so much. So I just had to rig those up and put them in, and there's one I had from a different lineup of hanging the curtains. But anyway, that's what it looks like, and it's essentially going around the whole room. There's some acoustic fabric, some basically carpeting that's on the wall. There's a couple of bare walls, so not everything is covered. Over here, it's actually a double layer. You can't get back there and see it, or I can't get back there. It's too dark. And so it's basically a whole row there, and then a second row there. And then this is just a single layer here. They're very thick, fairly heavy. And let me show you what it looks like. So some of them are white, some of them are black, and some of them are solid black. It was just, that's the way they made them, and it didn't matter because I wanted all the black sides to show. just for uniformity, because it can get a little jarring looking at white. So here is just an extra workstation, my go-to backup, another iMac, an older one that is fully functional, and I can fire it up in the other room, which is where I'm going to take you next, and you can never have enough canned air. So that is the behind the scenes of where I actually record. That's the monitor, of course, and monitor and monitors. So now let me take you to the other room. You pan down here and show you the dirty floor. Thank you, dogs. The cable runs basically connect me, and it takes me into another room. And here is Command Central. This is where all of the fan noise and the drive noise occurs. And this is why I have the rooms separate. And of course, I close the door, both doors, when I record. But this is where basically the brains of everything. The iMac that's actually running the whole system. 4 external media drives, all Thunderbolt. The top one is a Thunderbolt 2. The rest of them are just regular Thunderbolts. I haven't noticed a big difference, but when I'm doing video, I always put everything on the large Thunderbolt drive. That's the OWC brand. The others are G-Ray drives. Very efficient, very cool. They work. I mean, I've not had one die on me yet. Of course, I do a lot of backups, so that helps. This here is the Universal Audio Apollo Twin Duo. The audio interface I use, and of course that's the headphone cable that takes me back out to the other room where I can monitor everything, and I can adjust my my monitor volume right there. I never mess with that, so it's everything is configured in here. I don't have to touch it, which is great. What's next to this is a Thunderbolt hub, so I'm allowed to get an extra Thunderbolt port out of that, and I needed it because all these Thunderbolt drives plus the Universal Audio is a Thunderbolt device. I was able to hook it into here, and that's actually going behind into the iMac. And I got a printer over here, and just basically some extra gear, a Rode NT1, some of the stuff I'm going to be selling, and then some studio lights, some extra stuff down here, gear, foam. There's some of that foam tile I was telling you about. And so essentially that's the glamorous setup. But like I said, everything is in here because of the fan noise and the drive noise, and if I get it closer, you'll probably hear it. That would be unacceptable to have inside the studio while I'm recording, and I wouldn't want to have to deal with that, so that's why everything is in the other room, or just what I need essential in the other room. So that's the behind the scenes. Hope you enjoyed it. Now let's go back live.
Hey, thanks, Troy, for that pre-recorded report. Now we're back live. Somebody just texted me and let me know that the Facebook Live, even though it says I am live, it is not broadcasting live, they say. Is there a problem? So if you're watching this, this is obviously pre-recorded. It was never live. I'm live right now at this moment in time recording it, but nonetheless, I'm going to continue on with the plan that I had, and I'll just upload it later. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys kind of a picture of where I spend most of my time, and that is in a program called Adobe Audition. And Adobe Audition is made by, of course, Adobe. It is a recording and editing program where I do all my recording and editing. Boy, that was redundant, wasn't it? Anyway, one of the areas that I'm focused on and have had been blessed to be able to work with a guy named Roger Leopardi. I've taken some classes from him, and he was able to produce a demo for me. One of the areas that I'm working on is retail voiceover, and I wanted you to hear a demo. Retail commercial voiceover is basically targeting the two biggest local regional advertisers, and that is automotive and furniture. Those two are primarily the biggest high-volume commercial production areas for voice actors or voiceover artists, whatever you want to call us, to go to, where a lot of the work is found. So Roger produced this demo for me, and I want you to take a listen. It's amazing what he can do based on me giving him dry reads and him directing me through, but then this comes out of it. It's only a minute long, so
hope you like it.
Get ready to feel the rush of scoring a great deal with the Ed Mance Automotive Team. Check out our MVP lineup with 2 colossal Cadillac inventories in Brandon and Tampa. There's something big happening at Ashley Home Store because saving money on furniture is more important now than ever before. This is the big event. All new 2020 Sentra models are 25% off MSRP, only at Naples Nissan. You heard right. Choose from over 200 new Sentra models, all marked down 25% off MSRP. The massive inventory overstock sell-off is on at Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. We're selling off tons of merchandise at drastic markdowns. Save up to 60% on overstock Lazy Boy furniture store-wide. There's a new Hyundai dealer in town. The all-new Bruce Hyundai is now open. We've taken over the former Summit Hyundai to bring you the Bruce Auto commitment to customer satisfaction. TMC is Tucson's most preferred hospital for overall quality, according to National Research Corporation's 2016-17 Consumer Choice Awards.
So that, that is a retail commercial demo. And again, what Roger did was amazing. And so I'm sending that out there to a lot of agencies and a lot of production houses that specifically focus on high energy retail or mid-range. You know, there's a different levels of intensity. Retail is doing some interesting things these days because of everything that's going on with COVID. A lot of commercials have backed away from the high energy, deal and more into branding stuff. And eventually, I think, from what I understand, that's going to ramp back up. And I think for some dealerships and for some stores, they are. But that's what that's geared toward, those folks that are in that industry. I get a lot of questions from a lot of new voice actors or folks that have kind of traveled the road I've traveled. Basically, my story was I started in 2012, got laid off from a video editor's job, and had done voice acting here and there, but went full-time in 2012 and kind of figured it out and learned the ropes as I went. Found some mentors to follow, really good people. Bill DeWeese, in particular, was a huge influence on me, continues to be with his YouTube channel and with his teaching. And he also actually produced a commercial demo for me earlier this year that I'm also using. I won't play that during this video. The questions I get, because I got so much from people coming up, I still get a lot because I'm still learning this business. When I get questions from people, I try to help them as much as I can, call it the pay it forward attitude or the gratitude attitude, whatever you want to call it. This fellow on Instagram sent me an audio file, and I want to play it through the microphone. It's just easier to do it that way. And his question is what a lot of people starting out have a question about. Here it is.
Hey, Troy. Good morning. I hope everything is okay. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask you something, pertaining to voiceovers. I'm trying to set up my own home studio. I live in an apartment building, but I have a spare room that I was going to use as, that room. And I want to know if you had any ideas on what kind of mics and, things like that, or padding I could use. I don't know about padding the whole room, but, maybe a little kind of booth or, some kind of concoction to make it all possible. But I want the best sound quality for where I'm going to be doing it in my bedroom, in one of the bedrooms, actually. So if you could give me some information, no rush, just, whenever you can, if you have time, I would really appreciate it. All right?
So that's a question I get a lot. Thank you, Oris. He's an actor, and he's trying to basically branch out and build a studio in his home because a lot of his work has kind of scaled back because of the hiatus, on a lot of filming and television projects. So great questions. First of all, if you're in a house like this, where I'm at right now, started out and still is technically a bedroom, but I've created a studio space. And basically the video that I shot shows the sound absorption or sound acoustic curtains that are in this room. And this room consists of foam tile, as you saw, and it's treated about as well as you can treat it, short of building a booth or reinforcing the thickness of the walls in a rental situation or in a house that you don't have the luxury or the ability to expense out a renovation for an in-home booth or buy a separate recording booth to bring it in the house, then you got to figure out what to do. The biggest thing that I've heard that helps, and I know some folks that actually do this to this day, very well-established voice actors who use their closet, a walk-in closet or a closet surrounded by clothes hanging up. That is some of the best acoustical padding or the best sound absorption. Remember, sound absorption and sound suppression, the stuff coming in from the outside, there's not a whole lot you can do about that, but you can soften the sound waves that are bouncing around a room that's not treated, hard walls, hard surfaces, things like that. So that's where we'll focus at. So the curtains, let me take you out to a site. Where is it at? I wanted to show you. No, that's not what I wanted to show you. There we go. And so basically, Producer's Choice is the kind of sound absorption blankets I use. Site is called vocalbooth2go.com. This is the stuff I use, so that's the stuff I'm going to recommend. There seems to be a back order on some of this stuff, so it may not be accessible right away. So if you don't have the luxury of a big enough walk-in closet or an area where you can surround yourself with just regular blankets or thick things, that you can soften that sound, then this is the direction I went. And ranging from $50 to $100. They also have I think there's a portable unit that you can take with you, but you can even cover your door, which is very handy. Beyond that, I would recommend the acoustic foam panels. No thinner than 2 inches. 2 inches seems to be the general rule. 1 inch is pretty much useless, as I understand it. 2 inches is what you want to go with at a minimum. The thicker the better in tiles. Again, you do not have to cover your entire room. That's true. You want a little bit of, what's the term I've heard used? A little bit of life in the room. You don't want sound bouncing around. You may want to consider getting something called bass traps, which are basically wedges of foam you'd stick in the corner if you have a low, deep voice. And I think that may be something you should look at. Again, I would test it and see what you're getting as far as quality in your recordings. Now, as far as microphones, let me come back over here. As far as microphones go, there are a lot of high-quality USB mics, depending on the kind of computer you've got, depending on how much you want to spend. What I am using right now currently is the Sennheiser MKH416, and it ranges, if you get a good deal, you can get it for $700, $800, but new, it's about $1,000 on places like B&H Photo, on places like Sweetwater, where I get a lot of my stuff. Even on Amazon, you're not going to get probably a better deal than $900 to $1,000. And that comes with a case and a bracket and basically the other stuff you got to buy. But it is an excellent microphone. It is like the industry standard for a lot of people. I've tried 2 or 3 other microphones, and the Sennheiser just seems to work well for me. But I would, if you can find like a Guitar Center or a store that's open and you can test mics, that would be good. YouTube, just looking and seeing the reviews on some of these really incredibly high-quality USB mics. Again, it's how much space you have. There's free software you can get to record and edit. Audacity is a great one. You don't have to have Adobe Audition like I was talking about I had. That comes with a monthly subscription. You can go with Audacity and record and edit depending on what you're doing. If you do get an XLR, which is an unbalanced mic, basically a 3-pin XLR on the end, I'm sure you know what that is. That kind of microphone, then you're going to need to get an audio interface. And if you'll refer back to the video I did, I've got the Universal Audio Apollo Twin Duo, which a lot of people think is overkill for voiceover. I like the preamps in it. I like the sound. I like to be able to dial in the sound I've got, the sound I want, and I can travel and move with that, and it's going to be the same, except for the sound treatment in the particular room I'm in, and I can adjust for that. So I like to use those. I like that interface, but I didn't automatically start with that. I did not start with that interface. It's about $600-$700. I think I got one a demo sale. That's why I got it. I think it's about $800, $800 on Sweetwater. Anyway, they have cheaper ones that are really good. Presonus makes one that's really good. The 2.6 Studio, 2 in 6 out, I think is what that means. I hear a lot of people talking about the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, I think is what it's called. I used it for a little while. I didn't like the sound of it, so I got it as kind of a deal with a Rode microphone. So I wasn't out any money, and I ended up selling it to somebody. But anyway, that is my suggestion. Depending on your space, you want to treat it. You want to treat it as well as you can, and just be aware of where you're at in the house. You want to have it as close to an interior part of the house as possible. If you can avoid windows, that's great. I've actually got windows to the left of me. That's because I'm about 30 or 40 feet from a road. I have stuck lots of foam inside there to try to deaden it to a degree. And there's still some times where garbage day, school bus time, low rumbling vehicles, motorcycles, forget about it. I have to stop. I have to just wait, and then I come back and do my thing. I've been very fortunate during live Source Connect sessions that I've never had that become an issue. And, of course, dogs. That's inside dogs can do that. They can mess you up. So anyway, I hope that helps. Microphones, sound treatment, a computer software to edit and record with, and, of course, some nice headphones. These particular ones are Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros. 80 ohm models, but I mean I think these were about $140, $150, but there are lots of good ones out there. I think the Sennheiser or Sony 270s, I'm not sure, I can't remember who makes those, but YouTube, you can find some amazing reviews and recommendations on there to help you out. Now, at this point, so I hope that helps you, and if you got any more questions, since this is not actually going out live, then just put them in the comments section below after I post this video, and I will answer them as best I can. One thing you need to understand, I am not an engineer. I farm out things like making sure the sound is right, making sure my noise floor is where it needs to be, which is basically when I'm not talking, there's as little noise as possible and it's acceptable below 60 dB. I hired somebody to make sure that was done. I hired somebody to make sure that my clicks in my mouth, the normal things that need to be treated to get it to an optimum level after it's recorded, sound great. And so I hire people to do things like that. Just like I hire people to do my taxes, I hire people to do the technical stuff I don't know. But if you're just starting out and you're not really sure, just get the basics, invest in that, experiment around. And then if you want to grow and build, that's kind of what I did. I had a USB Yeti microphone in a tall, very 12-foot ceiling, something like that, dining room that was all kind of echoey. Somehow I booked a few jobs and learned quickly, I better start taking care of sound treatment, upgrading my equipment. I learned, I made money, I invested in it, and, I'm where I'm at right now with the equipment I've got, because I worked really hard trying to know what to do next. So I hope that helps. And again, any more questions, put them there in the comments, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. I think that's all I've got. Since I can't do live Q&A, I think that's going to wrap things up. So undoubtedly, things will get smoother from this point on. VoiceOver Weekly Stew number 2, which will actually be the real premiere without a net. Live, somewhere. I got to figure this out. You guys be blessed and be a blessing to somebody today. Have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day to you pops out there.